Okay, week 16, Ela W. And we are looking back, class, at pulling details from the text to support our answer statements. So far we have created answer statements that we largely pulled from the prompt itself and then gave quick answers. We have set up our topic sentences that are going to be used to create body paragraphs which support our original claim. And the next step is that we need to prove those statements to be correct. How are we going to prove that we're right when it comes to our writing? And we have to find evidence in the text. That's exactly right. So this is a practice. We're going to look at our work in just a moment, but let's have a couple of volunteers read here. So we're going to read the topic sentence and find which detail best supports this topic sentence. And luckily, unlike the Irabarn sisters, if I'm saying that correctly, that we worked with last week, this is actually from our packet and from our reading. It should look very familiar to you. So the topic sentence, let's have Andrew read. Dominicans of Haitian descent are responding to the challenge of gathering documentation by leaving the country. In looking at a lot of our topic sentences, this works. This is something that a lot of us have decided to use. And so, what is important now is that we're able to find a detail. So let's look at the text excerpt. We're going to take 30 seconds for you to read this independently and underline what you think is the best detail to support our assertion on the topic sentence that Dominicans of Haitian descent are responding to the challenge of getting documentation by leaving the country. 30 seconds to underline your evidence. Begin. And we're back. So, raise your hand if you found evidence to support the topic sentence. And that should be everyone, and that is just about everyone. Okay. Who underlined the first sentence? He actually could stay in the country. Well, I'm not sure if that works. If you said Dominicans of Haitian descent are responding to the challenge by leaving the country, he actually could stay in the country. Does this detail, if we use this, if we were to chop this out, put quotes around it and insert it into our writing, would this work? No, it actually goes contrary to the topic sentence that we gave. Yet he returned to Haiti because he could not get the papers for five of his children to stay in the Dominican Republic. How about this? Does this work? Raise your hand if you think this sentence works as support for our topic sentence. Okay, I agree that in sentiment this does work. This is a strong statement of what we're trying to prove, that people are leaving the country because they can't get documentation, because it says here that he returned to Haiti. But I don't love the sentence. And what I mean by that is if we said Dominicans of Haitian descent responded by leaving the country, for instance, because this is what a lot of us do, right? We then say, for example, yet he returned to Haiti because, like, that doesn't work. That's not a good flow to the writing. And you're going to lose your reader if you say that people are leaving the country. For instance, yet he returned. Your reader's first question will be, who is returning? What are you talking about? Are there any sentences that work for us to just cut them out? Oh, you think that the last sentence does? I'm trying to figure out how we're going to make a living. If we cut out that sentence, does that show the reader that people are leaving the country? It doesn't. That sentence just goes to say that it's difficult to leave the country and start a new life for yourself. So if none of the sentences work for us perfectly as evidence, what are we going to have to do in order to make our argument? We're going to have to paraphrase. Okay? So, how could we use our own words to say that this tells us that many people are leaving the country? Let's take 30 seconds to turn and talk, and I want you to paraphrase. If you're unsure of how to paraphrase, begin by summarizing. What is this telling us? And each group should have a summary of the excerpt that they can use as evidence in 30 seconds. Begin your turn and talk, go. And we're back. And let's hear from group 2. Group 3, we're going to call in a few groups here. And frankly, I'm not sure how well we're going to do that. But Ideally, what I hope that I'm hearing from these groups is that, for instance, a man named Muncher expresses that he has to leave the country because he cannot get documentation for 5 of his children. You can just tell it as if you were telling somebody a story, because it still works as a detail, because it's still rooted in evidence. So, that might be the right piece of evidence for you, and hopefully it is. I think that works for a lot of us, because now we're going to add to our Google document. So, if you would, right now, access your laptops, log in, get back into your extended response outline. Once you are there, return your computers to 45 and await further instruction. And now that we're all here, we now have our answer statement. We restated the names of the articles. We restated the prompt. We then gave our answer statements. These are the hardships. These are the responses. We then came up with our topic sentences. What are the problems Dominicans of Haitian descent are facing? All of us should have good answers for that. What are their responses? We should have good answers for that. Now, out of the detail that we just found, where would we put that in our outline? Detail 1 for responses. Good. So that'd actually be the 3rd detail overall. Once we get this outline filled out, you're going to see just how easy it is for us to create a strong extended response. But for now, let's have you insert whatever detail you came up with as a group as your 3rd detail of responses from Dominicans of Haitian descent.